Wow. You know, it doesn't matter which version of The Promised Neverland I see or read, it just never ceases to amuse me. So, episode 2 of The Promised Neverland. Now, in this episode, I can kindly say that the pacing so far from what I've seen from last week's episode and this week's episode, the pacing so far is just straight up flawless. They are doing an amazing job with the with the with the pacing and the necessary scenes that they kind of cut out within the chapters, which I'm going to discuss in a minute, because in this episode they managed to do 4 chapters in just 20 minutes. And that's pretty impressive to me. So at the beginning of the episode, we get a dream sequence which was in the manga. Now a lot of people have been saying that this was a filler scene that wasn't in the manga. No, absolutely not. This was in fact in the manga of basically Emma having a dream about Connie being eaten by the demons and her being eaten as well. Now, this episode basically talks about um, Emma and Norman discussing their plans of wanting to escape Gracefield, and basically them deciding of what they want to do and what they shouldn't do. And and to be honest with you, Emma, to me, the way how they're fleshing out her character in the anime, she reminds me a lot of Gon from Hunter x Hunter, from what I've read in the manga, from what I've seen, and that's why I really like Emma as a character. You know, Emma has that realism that Gon did in Hunter x Hunter. You know, just like her and Gon, they're both adventurous. Um, they're both outgoing. They're both energetic, but they have a bit of a stubborn side to them. You know, Gon doesn't want to let anybody down, so he'll actually take risks of him either being beaten or him being in a bad situation. Same thing with Emma. The fact that Emma refuses to leave without the rest of her brothers and sisters shows that she is fully committed. Even though it might show the stubborn sign within her, it does show that she cares, just like Gon did with Killua when he was being senselessly beaten by that one girl who was one of the butlers in the Zoldyck family in Hunter x Hunter. So really, I really love how the anime is kind of giving you that type of how outgoing, humanistic characterism. And another thing that I want to point out is the way how they're kind of putting in the important parts within the story. Just like, for instance, they kind of took out the some of the parts in the chapters of chapter 5 where Sister Crone was introduced, where all of the kids at Gracefield felt like they were being punished, and so Mama made them clean the house. That scene was cut, and I can kind of understand why. It wasn't really needed. It just kind of showed the kind of essence that Mama has an idea of who might have snuck out to the gate. But having that aside, let's get into the other episode. So the rest of the episode is basically Emma and Ray coming to the conclusion that they could escape from climbing the wall which is surrounding Gracefield. And of course the wall goes I'm not going to spoil anything, but from what I can tell, that's their main idea. Is that their main goal is that they want to jump behind the wall to try and escape. And as they were discussing, we see that Rei is being introduced to their plans, which is a lot different from the manga. In the manga, they actually went up to Rei to tell him, but Rei had a quote unquote slight idea of what they were planning. And then they told Rei the truth. It wasn't necessarily Rei coming into the forest while they were having a conversation. It was more like they were going to Rei to tell him what they're planning and what their ideas are. And and honestly, I can say as a manga reader that I don't mind the change at all. The only thing that I felt like they should have not introduced Sister Crone at the end of the episode. I felt like they could have waited until next week, like the opening of next week, because the fact that they brought in Sister Crone, they took out the ideas. They took out the scene where they were discussing their whereabouts, and they were in the library, and they were analyzing a lot of things. Talking about what was in the book, and the book was published in 2015, which in the world of